Good afternoon. Thank you for joining Culturally Sustaining Practices to Recruit and Retain Black Teachers by the Black Teacher Project. This webinar is part of the California Department of Education series on Black student achievement. Before we begin, we have a few housekeeping details to share. All webinar participants have been placed on mute. The chat will be disabled. Please ask questions in the Q&A feature at the end or during. A poll will be taken during this presentation. This Black Student Achievement webinar is coordinated by the Professional Learning Support Division at the CDE. Welcome, my name is Zandy Llanos, and I am an Education Programs Consultant in the Teacher and Leader Policy Office. I'm joined today by Joy Kessel, a Fellow Education Programs Consultant, Monique McWayne, Division Director, and William McGee, our Deputy Superintendent. I would like to take a moment to introduce our Building Educational Success Together BEST Branch Deputy Superintendent, Will McGee, who would like to say a few words before we begin.
Great. Thank you, Zandy, and I appreciate you and our Professional Learning Support Division. As Andy mentioned, my name is William McGee, Deputy Superintendent of the Building Educational Success Together branch of the California Department of Education. And on behalf of State Superintendent Tony Thurman, I say welcome and thank you for joining this webinar, whether you're here live or you're viewing it recorded. On the next slide, you'll see one of the most important reminders of why we do this work is because of the children. So as you were listening to this webinar, please keep these images of the students in your mind because this is why we do this work. Right. On the next slide, you'll see information about the Black Student Achievement Task Force that Superintendent Thurman created, which convened educators, professors, and community members to develop recommendations for student achievement. We've continued the task force recommendations and platforms through our webinar series. This webinar series allows for our district, schools, and experts in the field of education to share resources, funding sources, and highlight impactful work across the state to support our students and educators. This platform also supports the development of legislative recommendations. We definitely want to hear from you all who are doing the work in the field. And as one of my great friends, somebody I admire, Dr. Ken Wesson has stated, when Black children thrive, all children thrive. So this is about all children thrive. As we continue on this slide here, you'll see the task force prioritize 6 recommendations, and out of those, 4 recommendations were voted on and approved by the legislature. The legislation of the assembly bills that you're seeing, de-escalation specialists, reduction in preschool suspension and expulsion, restorative justice, and the increase of mental health clinicians is something that Superintendent Thurman has championed for, and we're excited that this work has been engaged in our local educational agencies. These bills provided funding or charges to implement the programs. At the California Department of Education, we support the administration of funding and implementation of support programs. I really do hope that the information you'll hear today will support you in the work you're doing in your school district. You'll be hearing from Dr. Misha Mosley of the Black Teacher Project, and you'll be learning about the various programming that is happening. Again, thank you for your work, and we appreciate you all being here. Back to you, Zandy.
Let me introduce the speaker for today, Dr. Misha Mosley. Dr. Mosley is the founder, and she is the executive director for the Black Teacher Project. She earned a PhD in education with the emphasis on social and cultural studies from the University of California at Berkeley. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Mosley.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for taking time to be here to listen in. I'm going to share some slides, as we are prone to do on these types of things. Again, welcome. Thank y'all for being present. I want to begin by just grounding in gratitude. This is something that's important to our practice. We recognize that so many of us are in a space where, pardon me, we're going. And I want you to just, wherever you are, whenever you're listening to this, even if in the moment you're multitasking, just take a moment to be still and find some support in your body. Recognizing that there's some part of your body that is allowing you to take this information in, and we don't want to take that for granted. I invite you to take a deep breath and just be present where you are. And again, thank you for being here. At the Black Teacher Project, we often begin by thanking our ancestors, that is, those who have been able to come before and lay a pathway for Black educators to do the important work that we are up to. As you slide, there may be some faces you recognize, some that may be new to you. I invite you to learn about the legacy of Black educators and Black educational excellence, particularly in a moment where the narrative in this country is something quite opposite from this truth. The Black Teacher Project is here to help Black teachers reimagine schools and reimagine them as places and as communities of liberated learning. That's our mission. That's what we're up to. So throughout the state of California, we've worked hard over the last 11 years to ensure that folks find a sense of community, find a sense of power and liberation in how they teach and how their students learn. We want every student to benefit from the brilliance and excellence and the leadership of Black teachers. You'll often see our t-shirts that say every child deserves a Black teacher. And we deeply, deeply believe that. And we want to make sure that folks can have an opportunity to experience that brilliance. So what are we going to do today? I hope you feel welcome. I'm going to share a little bit about the Black Teacher Project, about our purpose and our services. Then I'm going to get into a little bit of content just to give you a little flavor of how we go about our work, but more to the point, some resources that I think you all will be able to use in your work outside of this webinar. So we'll talk about racial affinity groups. We'll also talk about what it means to hire and sustain Black teachers and the practices that are associated with that we've learned over the years. So who are we at the Black Teacher Project? This slide really speaks to this notion of research. I'll read this quotation. The research has been clear for years that many of our schools struggle less with recruiting diverse educators than retaining them. Between 1988 and 2018, the number of teachers of color hired by this country's schools increased at a faster rate than those of white teachers. Yet those diverse educators, as this quote calls us, also left their position much more quickly on average. So we recognize that for many people, recruitment is an issue, but for most people, retention and sustainability is an issue. So why are people leaving? A friend and colleague and board member of Black Teacher Project, Travis Bristol, often says, teachers don't leave schools, they leave principals. And what I would offer is they leave environments. And so what we know is that there is an ecosystem of push-out factors, some of which include feeling invisible. So for many Black teachers, there are expectations that you are going to be the liaison between the school and Black families. You're going to put up the poster board or organize activities for Black History Month as though that's your responsibility because you're Black. Often, and those expectations are often uncompensated. We recognize that there's a lack of leadership opportunities and truly culturally responsive professional development. When we think about PD as we know it It tends to be very technical, and the cultural PD is often rooted in helping people learn to love Black folks. Black teachers already love Black folks for the most part. What about the professional development that blends those things together, that allows me to be a full human being and be excellent in my craft? Teachers are pushed out because of anti-Black systems and having to navigate that. Rather, that's people, the microaggressions, as I mentioned here, and the micro and macroaggressions of people simply not saying hello in the hallway, or the difficulty of what classes get to count for what credit. How many years have I taught, but it's ignored because I didn't check a particular box? In many parts of California, Black teachers feel isolated. They may be the only or one of a few Black teachers in their building or in their district. And we also know that there are health and safety challenges, whether that's about physical health or emotional health. The antagonistic behavior by many people, both those who identify as white and those who identify as people of color, often create an unsafe environment for Black teachers to do their work. So these things push people out. They limit the sustainability that we're after. At the Black Teacher Project, we have 4 pillars to our approach to interrupting those push out factors. Our approach to lifting up the work of Black teachers. First is Black identity development. As you saw in the earlier slide, our ability to really situate the current moment in a context of Black academic excellence. For Black teachers to know there are many who came before and those who will come after. And what it means to be Black is not a monolith. How your Blackness shows up in the Central Valley may be different than in the Bay Area. We also have a pillar around Black leadership for liberation. It's not just about moving up on the rungs of hierarchy. I was a teacher, now I want to be department chair, now I want to be principal, superintendent, but recognizing that you can lead from whatever role you have, but your leadership needs to be rooted in our collective liberation. No matter how you identify racially, we are all trying to get free from this oppressive system. Part of how we do that is through our third pillar, quality instruction rooted in Blackness. Now, we want all children to have quality instruction. Part of why we name this as rooted in Blackness is that Black instruction tends to the oppressive forces that exist. We know that the system of schooling that we are exposed to now was designed to sort us into workers, managers, and owners. Those are the tracks. Quality instruction interrupts that notion. It helps us understand that education is a right, that we are learning to liberate ourselves and our communities. And part of that liberation is our fourth pillar, which is wellness. We have to be well in order to do this work. And part of this work means that the results of it will be wellness for our students, wellness for our colleagues in our community. So in terms of our programs and services, we do that through, we have a number of services that we offer. We have an institute, which is often our foray into connecting with Black teachers. We focus on leadership and sustainability. That's a 2.5-day institute that we offer. We have an 18-month fellowship, which is our deep dive. Those are often the bookends of what we do in our programming. Our wellness and healing sessions and retreats, sometimes those sessions are smaller 1 to 2 hour sessions. Sometimes it's our full 2-day retreat. But the idea is to have that deep dive. We talk about and offer programming around culturally responsive teaching. Often the notion of being culturally responsive is about learning to love and meet the needs of students of color. Excuse me. What we know is that for many Black teachers, they already love students of color. How do we get to the nitty-gritty around instructional practice? And then finally, we have our Black Teacher Design Lab, which is a program where teachers co-design wellness practices with their students. And while this is a focus on Black teachers, they co-design these practices with students across race. This is just a snapshot of some of our programs and services. We invite you to check out our website or reach out to us to find out more information about our work. Now, those programs are typically for Black teachers in Black racial affinity. When it comes to the services that we offer for district leaders, that looks a little bit different. Today, you're going to get a little bit of information around hiring and sustaining Black teachers and what we offer a full workshop around that, but we're going to give you a couple of highlights today. We also listen to Black teachers to better understand how their districts can support them. What does it mean to have a district actually be able to respond to Black teachers' needs? We offer technical support for districts to do that. In other words, in our listening sessions, we may learn something from Black teachers about what they need from site leaders or district leaders. And so we may offer an affinity group and offer technical support to sustain that affinity group, but we also offer learning sessions for district and site leaders across organizations so that they can take the concepts that they may have learned and actually understand what it means to put it in practice. We also offer coaching for those teachers. I'm sorry, for those leaders. Because what we know is that there are many folks who have good intentions, but year after year see Black teachers leaving their sites or have trouble recruiting Black teachers in and making them feel welcome. So we offer services supporting that. Okay, so that's who we are and what we offer. Again, I invite you to check out our website, to reach out to us and set up an informational session to learn more. We'd love to work with people more intentionally and more specifically. But I want to spend the rest of our time today really giving you some information and sharing some of the content that we offer in our programming. As I mentioned, we offer programs to create and sustain racial affinity groups. And often people know Black Teacher Project from our work in racial affinity. But I want to spend a few moments unpacking that. So we've got a poll to that end, and I would love to hear from folks here. In this poll, we're asking, how have you experienced racial affinity spaces and racial affinity structures? Now, that may be a specific group. Maybe you've been a part of an ongoing group. Maybe you've just had an experience where inside of a meeting, you've paid attention to racialized patterns and you've done that analysis in racial affinity. So you've got a few choices here. Are you new? Have you participated in a few? Have you participated in many? And maybe you're someone who leads. So take a few moments now. Where would you say you fit in terms of your experience with racial affinity spaces? I know for all you multitaskers, this might be an opportunity to come back to your machines and click some buttons. So I'll give it just a few more seconds. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to close this poll and I'll say our results are in. And it seems that most people have been a part of affinity groups in some form or fashion. And there are a couple of folks who are new to racial affinity structures. There's kind of an even split between folks being new or part of many. All right. So, given that, some of this may be familiar to some of you, some of it might be new. but I'm going to just share a little bit about a little bit of background on affinity groups and affinity structures, and encourage folks to really learn more with us or with other providers. First, it's important to note that inside of schools and inside of the field of education, affinity structures are quite common, absolutely common. It's something that's done. We may gather in affinity relative to our professional networks, our departments, particularly those of us in secondary education. We already group students by age. You're 10 years old, you're going to be in the fifth grade. Our teachers collaborate in subject area or grade level. These are all, when we think about affinity, we think about it as gathering or a group that comes together for an intentional purpose. So there are interest groups, right? Some of good friends of mine are birders, right? That can be an affinity structure. What we know is that when we talk about affinity relative to identity, particularly some of the identities that we are uh, assigned societally, it can get a little tricky, right? So when we're talking about racial affinity groups, that's when things get super spicy because we're talking about race. But know that affinity in and of itself is quite common to education. But why would we focus on affinity groups? Well, one, it's important because affinity groups acknowledge who we are as racialized people sitting inside of a system of racism. And people experience racism to different degrees, but we are all impacted by it. That is why we gather, to recognize we have all been harmed. Sometimes we pit this Black and Indigenous and people of color group versus white folks. We have all been harmed by racism, no matter how you identify. And so it's important for us to recognize that. That said, given how we've been impacted, we all have healing and learning and support that we need to do that's going to be different depending on how we're situated in this community. But when we gather in racial affinity groups, it's for the purpose of working toward an anti-racist community and society. So we don't pretend that we share the exact same identity or experience, but we try to explore where are those commonalities, where are those similarities, and where might we respond to how racism impacts us in similar ways. Racial affinity groups can also be a place for upliftment and they can center joy. So this isn't all about, oh, racism's got me down. It's also an opportunity for us to think about how we fight back and how we find joy in that resistance. I want to offer a framework that we've developed in the Black Teacher Project about how and why racial affinity groups work. So for us, we talk about a reason why you would gather in racial affinity is to heal, to learn, and or to organize. First, let's talk about healing. It's important for us to heal from the impact of racism or the impacts of racism, but we've got to understand what that is. So, too often, racial affinity groups become venting sessions. Here's all of the terrible things people outside of this affinity group have done to me. We want to understand how we've been harmed so that we can heal. Venting can allow for some emotional release, depending on how it's done. But if that's all you do, eventually it'll turn into a spiral of negativity. And so we want to move to our next part of the framework where we're actually engaged in some learning. Because our ability to actually learn about ourselves, learn about others is where transformation occurs. Some of us have to both heal and learn from internalized oppression or internalized superiority. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to race, if you are someone who we've come to call white, in this country, you've been programmed to believe that white is right, that you are superior. You may have the most anti racist intentions, but all of the structures and systems around you tell you that what you consider to be normal is the right way and is the superior way. You need healing from that. Likewise, if you identify as someone who's Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, you've been taught that your way of being is inferior and that you're far from whiteness. And in fact, the closer you can get to whiteness, the better off you'll be. And we see this in how the census has been shifted over time. You've got to heal from internalized oppression. How do you get that out of yourself so that you can, in all cases, we can see ourselves as the full human beings that we are? Racism strips us of our humanity, and affinity groups allow us to learn about that and be better through that learning. But learning isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's not just from the neck up. We actually need to take action to transform these systems into liberatory systems. And that's where the last part of the framework comes in, organizing. How do we take aligned action toward a common goal? Affinity groups allow us not only to heal and learn, but to actually get ourselves together to create change. When we think about the work in the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s, folks were organized, and they were organized within and across race. And that's really the work that we're up to. So we would offer, if you are engaged or you're thinking about engaging in racial affinity work, healing, learning, organizing become core to what that work can be. Here's a quote by Kelsey Blackwell, a semantics coach. She says, people of color need their own spaces. Black people need their own spaces. We need places in which we can gather and be free from the mainstream stereotypes and marginalization that permeate every other societal space we occupy. We need spaces where we can be our authentic selves without white people's judgment and insecurity muzzling that expression. We need spaces where we can simply be. That speaks to the kind of cocoon that can be created in affinity spaces. Because often when folks are watching you make sense of race and racism, you can't be fully self-expressed. Likewise, we hear from Alex Vlasic, who says, it can be not only hard, but harmful to address racism in a mixed group, especially when white people have little to no experience examining racism or their white identities. Our journey to liberate ourselves from white conditioning, it's not just for people of color, but for our own sake. We have an opportunity to reclaim the wholeness, pardon me, we have the opportunity to reclaim the wholeness of our own humanity as white people. Our conditioning isn't only our fault, but it's our responsibility to do something about it. And then we have the powerful work of Kimberly Crenshaw, who talks about intersectionality. It is the complex, cumulative way in which the effects of multiple forms of discrimination, such as racism, sexism, and classism, combine and overlap or intersect, especially in the experiences of marginalized individuals or groups. What's important to note about intersectionality is it's not just about having multiple identities. As human beings, we all have multiple identities. I'm someone who votes and pay taxes and has been a California resident for most of my life. I'm also a transplant. I grew up in New York. I have multiple identities as a New Yorker, as a Californian, as a Black woman, as a queer Black woman. Those are my identities. What Kimberly Crenshaw is talking about are the multiple forms of discrimination that combine. So it's a little bit deeper than what demographic boxes do you check, and it speaks more to how does discrimination actually impact you. And so it's important for folks to recognize that if ever you're establishing racial affinity groups as a structure and you want to do this work over time, you've got to have some shared awareness of the why, shared awareness of what's going on in general, but what's your clear purpose? Sometimes it's to create a safe space for folks. But if all you're ever doing is creating a safe space and you're not tending to the space that's unsafe, you're missing the point. But you want to create that space, have a clear purpose, have some agreements, and really think about who's facilitating those spaces, right? You should create those groups based on participants self-identifying. This is not about me telling you what your racial identity is, or me telling you what some other identity that we might group in affinity is about. Let folks choose and consider how you might structure those affinity spaces to actually do the good work. Now, let me situate this work in Gregory Peters' framework, the 3A structure. He talks about this as a process with the potential for support groups to work better, to understand how oppression may be playing out relative to these identities, whether it's race, gender, role, any aspect that people may identify. So when we talk about racial affinity, it's situated inside of a larger framework. And I'm going to quickly go over this, but again, you'll have access to these resources. I believe that this work is best done in somewhat of a linear fashion, but it doesn't always have to be this way. Dr. Peters talks about people, doing their own alone work, meaning that you've reflected on who you are. Who I am as a Black woman is not the same Black woman that Michelle Obama is. We've had different experiences. We've had to learn and heal from those experiences differently. We got different messages growing up. Who are you? For folks who identify as white, when did you find out that you were white? Some people have become white in their lifetime. People who we didn't call white 30 years ago, we do now. Part of that is you making your own meaning and doing your own alone work. Our affinity work, as stated earlier, allows us to come together in likeness toward a common goal. And it's all in service of the greater project. And that is us doing work in alliance across difference. That is us being able to understand that anti-racism can't happen with just us working alone or just us working in affinity. As I often like to say, when we think about the Underground Railroad during the time of enslavement, where were my ancestors going? There were non-Black people opening their homes. We were working in alliance across difference toward a common goal of abolition. The same is true for the civil rights movement. Yet and still, each group needed some time and affinity to make sense of what was their work to do. Still beyond that, each individual had to get right with themselves to know what their work was. So this structure allows us to understand, how does affinity work fit into the larger project? Audre Lorde reminds us it is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. That's what we're up to. That's why I have to know who I am so that I can accept it, I can celebrate it, and do the same for you. So very quickly, I want to share a story from the field. We've been doing some work with Pittsburgh Unified here in California, and what we've been able to do with them is really support the affinity groups with their Black employees. Based on what we've learned in those affinity groups, we saw implications for the work that they need to do at school sites. So we have been able to have learning sessions for all of their site leaders, as well as coach many of their site leaders. That opportunity to work directly with Black employees, but also to support people across race, across the system, and we're working with their assistant superintendents to do that, creates the most powerful impact. So sometimes people want to have affinity groups off on the side. We created affinity group, check. If you're not taking the lessons and actually doing something about that in the larger ecosystem, you're missing the point. And so I want to offer that the work that we're doing in Pittsburgh is what is work to watch. We've presented about it across the state, and we look forward to sharing more of our findings from that work. Now I'm watching the time and it's getting tight. So I'm going to move to the second part of our offering today, which is around some of the practices for recruiting, hiring, and sustaining Black teachers. Now, what's important to note is you're always looking to connect to candidates. When you think about recruitment, you're always looking to connect to candidates. So this notion of looking upstream, if you're looking at this image right now, is how can I connect to candidates? Well, minimally, you can have inclusive materials that are going to catch someone's eye, whether that's online or analog. What materials would let folks know, hey, this could be a welcoming place? But you want to connect to the communities that your candidates are a part of. That can look a bunch of different ways. So let's get into that. When it comes to the recruitment process, some of your candidates are your students. We're going to need teachers for the foreseeable future. How do you see that 12-year-old as the fresh college grad 10 years from now who's going to be your first year teacher? That's what happens if we're lucky. If we can create the systems to grow our own, there's a power that becomes available. Who are your paraprofessionals, your teachers' assistants, your classified personnel? Often we find that many Black people hold these positions and also know what's going on with Black families and Black students. Might they be the teachers of the future? Are there career pathways in your district? How do we make education one of those? What are the teacher prep programs in your communities? And what does it look like to actually have partnerships with those pathway programs and to have some articulation so that if somebody joins your district, but they don't quite have all of the um, credentials, that they can connect to one of these programs and get that clear. So that can be how you connect to some of the candidates. But the larger communities can be HBCUs, religious organizations, community organizations, social media, right? A public awareness campaign. There's so much that you can share to let folks know, hey, we're hiring in our district and we really want to be a welcoming place for Black teachers. This allows people to really see what's possible and to see uh, a true interest. Sorry, let me jump back just a little bit to say some of the strategies that folks can uh, use when in the recruitment process. Make your hiring decisions early, right? Get into those deep partnerships with folks. Oh, sorry, 1 second. I have skipped ahead. There we go. Some of you may have residency programs that have an on-ramp, but really make sure that in your materials, you're articulating, why do we need Black teachers? Why do we want folks? And why would Black teachers want to come to our district? Yes, we have a teacher shortage, and for many of us, and Black teachers have a choice of where to go. So naming the number of Black students in your district or that they really need more role models is not enough. What is it? What is my experience going to be? I want to be able to teach Black students and non-Black students. Is this going to be a welcoming environment? Am I going to walk into a school building and hear the N word every 5 minutes with no response from administration? That tells me that's not a safe space for me. So be mindful of how you are talking to candidates about why they would want to come into your building. One example in recruitment, one of the districts that our larger organization has worked with named that studies have shown that women and people of color are less likely to apply for jobs unless they believe they meet every single one of the qualifications mentioned in the job description. This district says we are most interested in finding the best candidate for the job, and that candidate may be one who comes from a less traditional background. We would encourage you to apply even if you don't believe you meet every one of our qualifications described. It does not mean we're going to take you if you're not qualified. It may mean maybe you've got, we say that 5 years of experience is preferred and you've got 4. For some women and for some people of color, oh, I only have 4, I'm not going to apply. As opposed to saying, yes, please do apply. You may be so strong in what you've done in those 4 years that gets you the job, but we'll never know if you don't apply. This is an example of welcoming and inclusive language that tells me, oh, you see me, and actually, oh my goodness, you're in my head. How did you know that would be something I would be concerned about? Let's talk about hiring Black teachers. So now we've gone from recruitment, let's get into hiring a little bit. So when we think about the hiring process, one of the most important things is to align around a rubric and make sure that there's a component for people to demonstrate culturally responsive practices. Too often we hear feedback that this person was just not a good fit. And often that's code for we don't like them for some reason that has nothing to do with their talent. When we have a standardized rubric and standardized to your school or your district, the standard is that every single candidate that you review is held to that rubric. You may need something different in Stockton than people need in Oakland or Moreno Valley. So make your rubric your own. But all districts, all sites need to have culturally responsive practices. How can a candidate show that in their demonstration lesson or in the materials that they provide? It sets a standard that that's the expectation. And if I'm applying to a district, I'm like, oh, okay, that tells me that perhaps my colleagues already understand that this is important in this environment. We also encourage you to use interview questions that ask people to demonstrate what they know or what they would do in a particular experience. Make sure that whoever's on, particularly if there's a hiring panel when you're interviewing people, state your bias and your influences. If you feel like folks with tattoos don't sit right with you, say that. It doesn't make you wrong, it makes you honest. If I know that, I graduated from UC Berkeley, Stanford is a lovely place. Everyone who knows me knows that I'll have a little bias, right? And I'm joking, but I say that lightly. I love Stanford. And if I know that I've got some beef with a particular school, or I decide that this CSU or this institution's not as rigorous, if I'm holding that bias, I got to put it on the table because I may have a wonderful candidate who I'm deciding isn't good enough because of where they went to school. Finally, make sure you're getting really clear about the assessments for demonstration lessons and what those metrics are. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to move through the next few slides and give just a quick overview. I invite you to go back and look at them in more detail because I do want to make sure that we have time to close out properly. And if anybody has questions that you are putting them in the chat or that you have time to. But what I'll say about some of the hiring strategies is, folks understand the importance that we need Black teachers, period. But folks will say, oh, there's not enough Black talent. There is. There's more than enough. The question is, where are people going? What are some of the predictors that people use to demonstrate performance? One teacher noted that they labeled something a warm up instead of a do now and was told that they got points off of their demonstration lesson because they didn't have a do now. Is that really where we want to nitpick? So we want to be able to recognize that there is not a true meritocracy, that sometimes there are issues and conditions that create difficulty in us seeing the brilliance of a particular candidate. There's no one single most qualified candidate. So it's really going to be up to us to think about when we're seeing folks, what does our school need and what does this person bring? Let's finish up with sustaining Black teachers and what that means. I'm going to skip this particular quotation and just talk about some of the things that you can do to sustain Black teachers. Create pathways for leadership. That doesn't mean promotion. Not everybody wants to be a principal, but what are ways that Black teachers can take responsibility for the things that they care about? A simple thank you goes a long way. We talked about some of the invisible work that Black teachers are tasked with. And it's important to every once in a while just say thank you. I know you're not being paid for this. I would say the most important is to address some of the practices and expressions of racism. I cannot tell you the number of Black teachers that say they experience hearing the N-word and other anti-Black epithets in their school on a regular basis with absolutely no response from administration. A parent will say, I want my kid out of this class only because they have a Black teacher, for no other reason. And there's no response, right? And so our ability to actually see Black teachers and see the complexity that they're sitting in. Just because a Black teacher has a strong relationship with Black students, i.e. their classroom is not on fire, doesn't mean that they don't need support. Making sure that Black teachers get the pedagogical development that they need to be excellent teachers and not just a response to behavioral, put all of the kids who are having behavioral challenges in their classroom. That leads to the push out. So you can sustain them by making sure they get the support that they need, the professional development that they need. And so again, I'll just say this one last story from the field. We are having some burgeoning work with the Sacramento County Office of Education, where this Friday, for any of you in that region, we are hosting a mixer for Black educators in that county office to better understand, like for them to build community, but to better understand what they need from an organization like ours. And that is going to lead to us being able to create some work in the fall that helps to support those Black educators. So the sustainability should not come from just an idea that you hear in this webinar, but should come from the people that you're trying to serve in your school, in your district, in your county. And so here's a way on this slide I'm pointing out to be able to keep in touch with us through our website, through our social media. Please feel free to reach out. We'd love to work with any and all of you and to support not only the Black teachers in your communities, but the students, colleagues, and families that they serve as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and I will turn it back over to the team.
Thank you. I'm going to share my slides. Oops, there we go. Oh, yep. Questions. Please put those in the Q&A. and we will be sure to answer those while I go over the resources. CDE also has a host of resources available for districts and schools, including Black Student Achievement, Transforming Schools at the Superintendent Initiative webpage, the Promoting Equitable Access to Teachers Professional Learning webpage, Diversifying the Teacher Workforce Professional Learning webpage, Retaining Teachers of Color Professional Learning webpage are all located on the California Department of Education website. We'll provide the web address for each webpage in the coming slides. CDE hosts the Black Student Achievement Transforming Schools webpage. It was created to provide information and resources for local education agencies, LEAs, and educational partners to support academic achievement for Black African American students. It includes information on upcoming webinars and related events like this one. This webpage also provides links to useful resources associated with recruitment and retention. Please go to www.cde.ca.gov/EO/IN/Black-Student-Achievement.ASP. The Promoting Equitable Access to Teachers, PEAT, contains resources to assist LEAs with gathering data and reporting disproportionate access to effective, experienced, and appropriately assigned teachers by low-income and underserved students. Access to a fully prepared and stable teacher workforce is essential to educational opportunities. For more information, please visit www.cde.ca.gov/ci/PL/PEAT.ASP. The Diversifying the Teacher Workforce webpage includes resources related to diversifying the teacher workforce. This webpage hosts the Equity Thought Leader Series, recorded webinars, and the report, How to Increase the Diversity of California's Education Workforce, which includes recommendations made by the CDE Educator Diversity Advisory Group. Please view www.cde.ca.gov/ci/PL/diverse-teacher-workforce.asp. The Recruiting Teachers of Color webpage includes research-based strategies to diversify California's teacher workforce. There are various sections on the webpage devoted to promoting recruitment strategies, asset-based pedagogies, bilingual pipelines, and grow your own programs. For more information, visit www.cde.ca.gov/ci/PL/div-teacher-recruitment.asp. And the Retaining Teachers of Color webpage provides research-based strategies for retaining teachers of color. Statistics show that teachers of color are leaving the teaching profession at higher rates than white teachers. The webpage includes research-based retention strategies and suggestions for LEAs. Please visit www.cde.ca.gov/ci/PL/retaining teachers of color.asp. We have a survey for attendees that will be placed in the chat. If you have general questions, email plsd@cde.ca.gov For more information on the Black Teacher Project, please go to www.blackteacherproject.org. You could email info@blackteacherproject.org. We've placed that in the chat as well. Misha, I see you, and it reminds me, thank you for your participation. We really appreciate what you had to share today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, folks, 4:30. Thank you all so much, and we will be closing out the webinar.